This might help. Felix here, and good morning to you for this. Welcome to this pre-market live stream. I want to walk you through why the market crashed yesterday, what is next, and what are the actual opportunities here today with a mic, with sound, because that tends to help. I have a little bit of a red glow today. Winston and I had a few friends had a lovely little hike this morning, so we're looking a little bit sort of, I don't know, I was going to say sun-kissed, probably just crimson because that's the color I turn to. So what actually happened yesterday? Would that be useful if you understood what actually happened yesterday? Would that make you feel more warm and fuzzy inside and maybe give you some real value? If it would, then write value in the chat and I will know that you are alive and that you're listening and this is actually useful for you. Alpha Charlie, I'll be sending that email out just after this one. I was going to send it yesterday, didn't get around to it, but it's coming. It's coming. Don't worry, I promised it to you, so it's coming. Value, so Mick and Brent and Patrick and Lars and Tim and Angela, brilliant. Okay, I'm glad you guys are awake and alive. So let's run through it then. The retail basically got scared yesterday. If we look at the biggest retail stocks out there, and this is from Goldman Sachs, but investment bankers with a big warm fuzzy heart. Their company logo is a kitten, and their main activity is rescuing bunny rabbits. They really care deeply about your portfolio. Yes, they do. They would never want you to lose any money. Anyway, so what are the big names in their? They call it the meme portfolio. It's Palantir, it's Oklo, it's SMCI, it's Reddit, and Caverna. And all those stocks took a massive tumble yesterday. And that's simply because retail started selling them. Now, what happens once retail starts selling them? Well, these lovely people on Wall Street know about it. How do they know about it? Well, all your trades get funneled through them. So if you use Robinhood or Schwab or any of the major brokers, they pay, well, Wall Street pays your broker good money. Robinhood, I think, if I'm not mistaken on that, I think it was $900 million last year they got for order flow payment. And what does that mean? Well, your orders get routed through a lovely organization called Citadel. They're all about rescuing orphans and making sure, families are looked after. They're the hedge funds. They're hedge funds. They're called market makers. And they therefore know what you're up to. I'm not saying that they would ever abuse that information in a way that would profit them. I'm sure they're just sending $900 million to Hood every year because they feel like they're doing the right thing, right? So enough cynicism there this morning. But it woke up, and this is according to Goldman Sachs, it seems to have woken up the HF shorties. What does HF stand for? Anybody? HF, it stands for hedgies. Yes, hedge funds. Those lovely, caring people out there. And they basically heavily started shorting those stocks because they could see retail was panicking, so they jump on board, so it gets worse and worse and worse and worse, right? Hurricane relief, yes, that's another one of their big things. Absolutely. They're really also all out for the furry creatures and hurricanes. Now, does that mean it's all over? Does that mean it's the end of the world? Well, not quite. I want you to understand I think I wrote 5 reasons. I think it's actually 3 or 4. I think counting bankers, we struggle with small numbers. So what does Goldman Sachs say about what are the real reasons why we got scared yesterday? Okay, a couple of pieces of data. And I want us to look at what's going on with Palantir and look at the charts and show you something very, very cool. And consumers, that's you, especially if you're American, that's really very much you. Apparently, your assessment, how you see the labor market, it fell for the first time in 4 months. And business conditions also fell for the second consecutive month. Now, this data, I can tell you, is going to be evenly split between Republicans. Yeah, economic data is now political, and Democrats. And Republicans are at the moment going, woohoo, right? And Democrats are like, it's the end of the world. It's all over. both are probably wrong. Right? I mean, one is probably too euphoric and one is probably too suicidal. But if you look at the Dems, they are what pulls down all these quizzes at the moment that are out there. So I'm taking the consumer assessment with a bit of a pinch of salt. Why? Because the Republicans are the majority. I know not a popular thing to say, but it's of course the truth, right? So they are at present the majority. So I would probably put a slightly more positive spin on expectations than what we're actually seeing in reality. And I think a lot of this is just like people just feel grumpy they lost the election. Give them a few months and they'll start to warm up, I think. So what do we therefore do with all that information? Well, wouldn't it be lovely if you knew exactly what you would do with that information? Wouldn't it be helpful if you knew exactly what you should buy today and whether you should have gotten out of certain things? You wouldn't feel, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So most people feel. We ran like a 2-hour live session on that yesterday, which was really good fun, and I love all you guys for showing up and learning. But there is also a very, very brief version of this, which is a 15-minute version, and it'll give you basically the rules in just 15 minutes. So if you want to leave the stream right now and head over to felixprehn.org/get-free, you actually get free. Well, you learn the 3 rules to better trading, which is basically how to spot breakouts, and where do we exit, and it's all there for the taking. Much more important than actually understanding the minutiae of what drives the market today. Because if you understand the rules and the systems, then you can start to spot the patterns, and it means you start to see the patterns before they really unfold, and therefore you're in a better position to take advantage of them, and your portfolio should thank you for it. So head over to felixprehn.org/get-free. The link is also down below in the description. And Fox Gaming, my friend, has already spammed it all over the chat here. Thank you very much for that. And I know some of you are spotting breakouts. So we're going to look at the breakouts in a second, Adrian. There. And Alpha says you get 3 bonus minutes. Yes, that's a good way of looking at that. Apparently the masterclass isn't 15 minutes, it's 18 minutes. So it's 15 minutes plus 3 free bonus minutes on top. Now, okay, fact number 2. It is the small business CapEx. What the heck is CapEx? It's capital expenditure, which is basically investment, right? It's investment by companies. It fell 7 points, the largest decline in 30 years. Now, why is that? Yes, well, my friend, we're glad to look at target in a second, but let me get through the core stuff here first. Well, small businesses are probably concerned about what? Tariffs, because it might affect them more than others. So a lot of small businesses are wholesalers and importers and exporters and so on, and they might definitely, they might get hit by that. And they're also unsure about taxes and regulation, and they're just a little bit feeling a little bit iffy. There's probably a politics element there too, but so they're one thing that makes regular, ordinary people who actually work in small business. A lot of people work in small businesses. It makes them feel a little bit less secure, and therefore they might just pull out of Palantir if it drops 20%. Not unreasonable. And then this is fact number 3 from Goldman Sachs. They're saying there is a loss of euphoria. Since after the election, a lot of people were very like, oh my God, this is going to go up. It's going to be the greatest year in the history of the stock market, and everything will be fixed in week 1. And then, of course, the reality is kicking in that it takes time to fix things. Government, if you think it's fixing, if you think they're screwing it all up, then it's going to be longer pain. It's basically death by paper cuts rather than the one sort of axe into the neck. So as Goldman puts it, we enter a period of heightened volatility, which just means the market doesn't do this, it does that, right? More of that also for next week. I'll get into that in a second. The tariff extension for Canada and the Snow Mexicans, other way around, isn't it? The Sombrero Canadians is coming to an end shortly. We have a US budget debt ceiling fight definitely coming up. There are April tariffs allegedly to be imposed on European goods and maybe other countries. And then we also have earnings, like video earnings coming up and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff here that's definitely concerning. United Health as well. Yeah. Pharma, they're coming for them. They're coming for them. And I think it couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of people. So this is important. Now, before I get to the good news on crypto, there is a fourth item here. And that is, today is a glorious Friday. You had not realized this. And what happens on glorious Fridays? It's the third Friday of the month. It has particular religious meaning, apparently. No, it has religious meaning to options traders. Why? Because we have some absurd amount of options expiring today. And what do lots of options do? Well, I often show you charts like this, right? And we have a support line, we have a resistance line. Well, if I pull up, say, the S&P, or maybe just QQQ, NASDAQ, because maybe that's what most of you are probably invested in some form into the NASDAQ stocks, right? And so if you look at the support resistance here, it's been, what's actually been going on is we've been trading kind of sideways, right? Sideways. And there is resistance at 540, there's support at 520, which means at 520, market makers, they buy. At 540, they start to sell. And it keeps us very nicely in this sort of sideways pattern. After today, the third Friday of the month, all these options expire. And these options have this impact on the market, which means next week, the market could do this or it could do that. It just is able to move more freely. And that could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. Nobody knows that. You just know that it's going to move more. And you can make money out of knowing that if you know how, right? So that's one thing here. But is it all over? Is it all the end of the world? Should we just jump off the nearest ledge if we can find one? Please don't, unless the ledge is only about sort of an inch off the floor or so, in which case you may. That should be safe. There is good news coming out of the US government, and that is that there's been a legal case, a lawsuit, as you might call it, against Coinbase, which is the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world by far. And they were basically saying, you guys are an unlicensed illegal broker because you are handling securities. Now, crypto is actually technically not a security. A security is something like a stock or like a bond. Crypto isn't that. So Coinbase they were saying, no, we're not a broker, therefore we don't need a brokerage license. Apparently, this lawsuit is about to be withdrawn, which means the US government no longer hates crypto. And it's a big deal. This is what Coinbase CEO says. If this goes through, it's a really big deal, not just for us, but for the whole crypto industry. And it just means we are entering a period of, everybody loves crypto. Now, you might think that would be good for Bitcoin. Have a look. Yeah, 0.8% up today. It's sort of, yeah, it's almost at 100,000 again, which is pretty good, right, on that news. So why does that matter? Because it's an indicator of, are we feeling more bullish, right? And consumers need something to feel a little bit more bullish. As retail people, a lot of us have crypto. This is also very bullish. ARKK, Kathy's little, I was going to say sort of fund, but that nice fund that they run to make people lose sleep, ARKK. So far this year, it's up 12.7%, which is 3 times the S&P and it's 4 times the NASDAQ. What does that mean? Risk is back, baby. Risk is back. And I was actually looking at ARK with some of you guys a couple of days ago, and I was like, this looks like it wants to break out. Let's have a look at whether it has broken out yet, because when it does, I'm going to buy some of it. Not because I like it or want to own it in the long term. I just think this is the sort of asset that will boom once money shredding stops, once interest rates come down further. So no breakouts so far, but it's actually, we had one here. We had one in November here. That was a pretty good call at 56, right? But it's looking kind of positive. It's looking pretty positive. And those of you who've watched the masterclass, you will recognize the zigzaggedy thing here, right? That's going on there. And you might sort of say, okay, yeah, it's moving up. The only thing that we're missing is what? Volume. Anything we're missing. The last breakout over here, right, that one, we had a lot of volume down there, a lot of volume. At the moment, we haven't got any volume. So I'll wait for the volume, and I shall be buying some ARKK. And I shall not hold it for very long, but I'll hold it until it stops going up. Fox, you love crypto, so you should be a little happier today. Fox is also reminding you to smash the like button, which I appreciate. Thank you very much. So that's sort of like the lay of the land, really. And ultimately, everything I always tell you every single day, you can ascertain yourself if you understand the patterns that drive the market. The market moves actually in very predictable swings, and we can set up our entire behavior as investors or as traders the basis of those swings. So understand patterns, understand when it's a good time to buy, when it's a good time to sell, and how to do good risk management. And my intention is to teach you all of that in that 15 minutes if you head over to felixprehn.org/free. So you too can get free, right? So let's look at a couple of big stocks moving here today. Actually, let me give you the pre-market first, because it might calm you down a little bit. So it's looking a little bit better, right? A little bit of a rebound after yesterday's horror. Palantir is up 2%, Tesla is up 0.25%, the big tech stocks are up moderately. Fat drugs are floating to the top a little bit here. But UNH, 11% down. Department of Justice investigation. Apparently, they trained doctors how to diagnose things that would make them the most money. Shocking. Who would have thought there'd be profit motive medicine? I can't believe there's a doctor out there that would. So yes, obviously. So this is ARKK doing his thing, and I think he's gonna hit a lot of pharma pretty hard. And I said, I think in November after the election, stay the heck away from pharma, and I'm gonna keep doing that so we know what the new law of the land is, so to speak. How is PayPal looking? Okay, cool. We look at a bunch of those the popular stocks here. PayPal, we look at Palantir, we look at Archer, and a bunch of others here. PayPal, well, it's not brilliant, is it? It's sort of bobbing sideways below the 150-day moving average line, which is definitely not a good thing. Support is now at 77.50, a few cents below where we are trading. Volume is pretty low, by nothing major. So it's just, yeah, I mean, you could say it's positive, and if you want to be an optimist, because we were much lower and somebody bought the dip. It wasn't me. So what's the hope here? Well, the hope is just that obviously that the investor day delivers something that earnings didn't deliver. But hope is never much of a strategy. So that will be my warning on that one. Palantir, and I just made a video on that today because I think that's worth a whole sort of segment in itself, what's going on over there. And yesterday's candle, that's always, I think, a really, really good thing to understand a little bit about candles. Not the ones you burn on your table, but the ones in front of us here. And you see that green candle here from yesterday? What does that look like? Make it a little bit bigger, right? It looks basically like that, right? It looks like a prehistoric hammer. And what does that mean? Well, it means that we started the day where? We started here, 0.1, this level. We then dropped all the way to there, that was 0.2. And then what happened? Well, beautiful things happened. The dip buyers came out and they bought us all the way back up to this level here. So that's a pretty bullish situation, because the dip buyers came in and provided some support. So these candles actually pretty good. Today we're trading a little higher, yet at the slightly above yesterday's trading range. And yesterday was also monstrous volume. So this is actually quite a nice candle there. And he says 2 days before, look at the candle. Yeah, but that candle there is missing the long hammer, right? It isn't really a hammer. It's just like it's not much of a hammer. Right? If you have a hammer, cut off the shaft and see if you can use it. It doesn't really work, right? So it doesn't really work. That here was an upside down hammer, which is a bad thing. So that was a bit of a warning signal there. Right, some of you are putting NBIS in there because that's the Nebius group, which is that little Russian thing. Well, formerly Russian, now an AI thing. And Yesterday was pretty decent. Trading nearish the top today. Not marvelously wonderful, just sort of a consolidation there, really. A lot of volume. Earnings didn't seem to do all that much for it. So that's actually a pretty decent outcome. I would argue is that, you know, the sideways momentum thing here is still alive. But it's not like screaming buy me. Can't believe Felix is getting off the shaft now. Logan, it's fun quoting people, isn't it? Partially. Now, all the other things you wanted me to look at. Ah, dear. Tesla. Let's have a look at Tesla. Robinhood as well. Oh yeah, in 2 years, what you're saying, in Mercado Libre, yeah, pretty good numbers there. Tesla continues to consolidate sideways. Nothing really to see here, basically. Nothing to see here at all. It's going sideways, right? What was this 2-year thing you guys are shouting out there? It's an ADR. That means it's a foreign thing. Does that come from our breakout indicator? Loaded. Here we go. Okay, wow. Okay, so we had one breakout here, and then we had the inevitable. Watch the masterclass. You see what happened. You go up. We always come down a bit, and then we go up again, and that was the second chance here yesterday. So that looks pretty good. And pre-market, we are where? We are up there, right? So the breakout was a pretty good call there yesterday, and I imagine that's on our list here from yesterday. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, there it is. That was a good call. If you guys, did you guys get the email? Did you get the email for that? Who got the email from Trade Vision? And if you don't get those emails yet, go get yourself the emails. felixprehn.org/Trade Vision. We actually send you an email twice a day with the breakouts that we spot and a ton of another amazing stuff that's happening here. And for all you options nerds out there, you know, say you liked 2-year and for some reason you wanted to say buy a call option. I wouldn't, but say you wanted to buy a call option on this, then have you ever wondered, like, what does your profit really look like? Because this is like the end of the trade, right? But now what we have at the bottom, we have a time slider here, which still needs fixing. I was told actually this morning. Then we also have a volatility slider, which is marvelously not functioning either. But it will. I was told it was already fixed. Okay, we'll fix that. But it was working for me yesterday. I don't know why it doesn't work on 2 year. Maybe it works on something else. Maybe it doesn't work yet at all. Why the guys haven't announced it yet. I sometimes pre-announce stuff and then everybody kills me for it, the development team. Yeah, there we go. So it works on that one. So basically this shows you on each day, you know, where would your profit be? That line now is actually accurate. So you could be like, okay, if we're at 370, I'd make 40%. Then a few days later, at 370, I would only make 35%. Then what if volatility went up? This would be good. If volatility went down, it would be bad, right? So that's kind of a really cool thing for you options nerds out there to see. Johnny's working for you. Okay, brilliant. I think it might have just been 2 year. Maybe there's no options volume or something, which is why that happens. But I'll make a note of that for the guys to have a look at why that doesn't work. Leonardo says, loving Trade Vision, brilliant. Scott, nice. Yeah, this is going to be very cool for us options traders. So spread the word, my friends. By the way, you can literally make money out of it. There is a job ad at the top. There was a little button to share this. Interesting, but yeah, there is a referral program which we'll dig up again. It seems at the moment we're hiring. Yes, cool. Okay, so if you want a job, if you want to be a product owner, full stack developer, Python, you know, snakes and all, then then come and join us. But let me also write that down. Referral button. I don't know why that disappeared. Okay. Milai, but how do you say Milai? Milai, Mercado Libre, Mercado Libre. I think that's how you have to say it, right? It's like a Cuba Libre. It's a Mercado Libre. You have to say it with that pronunciation. It's the only way. And right? That's a very nice jump up here. What, 10%, 12% up? So earnings were stellar, gold plated all around it. Very good. And it's a stock I love. I've been making videos on this one for about 3 years. Nobody ever cares. but some of you watch it, which I appreciate you for. So yeah, this is I think a real fundamental gold dust thing. Basically, it's an Amazon of sort of South America, and also SoFi built into it, if you understand what I mean. So it's a payment provider, but also Amazon. So very, very interesting business. Yeah, I love the option sliders. Yeah, they're going to be super cool, aren't they? Especially if you're setting up stuff that's a little bit more complex. I think people sometimes don't quite understand, like, what does it mean? So say if you are, what have you got open at the moment? Say on Hood, for example, I've got, you're gonna lose me now into the options world just for a minute. Let's say I've got something like this open, where I have a short put down here, I have a long call here, and I might have something like that. That's obviously not the exact setup, but the idea is something like this, where if we go up, we make a lot of money. If we go down, we still make a little bit of money. We should now be able to see how that actually behaves, like every single day of the trade. You see that? You see every single day it becomes a bit more profitable, and it becomes wider and wider and wider. So the green zone is the bit we make money in. The red zone is the bit we lose money in. It's very, very, very cool to see how these trades actually pan out over time. So yeah, keep playing with that, my friends. Team's working hard. Yeah, we've got a really good set of guys now, and we have a ton of stuff coming up. And that's all, by the way, in there is a product roadmap now, so you can see what's going on there. We also have events now, so you can see what news are coming out every day, sort of a calendar. And you can also see, like, literally what features we've got coming up on what day, if it loads, when it loads. Would it load? There we go. Yeah, so the things that are just done. You can see that the things we got done in the last 2 days, these are the things that are coming out with dates on them. And then these are the things that are next up, and then stuff that we're talking about. And then there is also, you can vote on these, by the way. There's a little voting button you can click on, which would be super useful, actually, because then we know what you guys want, and there's a lot of stuff on here that you guys have proposed, and we can, so thank you actually very much for every single proposition. You're propositioning me, because it allows us to make what you would find most helpful, which is the intention. So literally let us know what you're missing, what you'd like to see, and it'll get voted on and it'll get built. Celsius Celsius announced that they purchased a competitor, and now they're all high on caffeine or something. And it gives them more market share. Obviously, they bought the market share. But it also gives them, I understand, access to the Pepsi distribution chain, which, if you've ever sold beverages in the United States, distribution chain is what it's all about, because to get listed in all these stores is very difficult. And then you need someone to deliver it. And Pepsi is obviously very, very good at that, because they've got listed in a lot of places. Now, is it still a falling knife? Yes, so far. I mean, it's a beautiful classic double top and then kaput. And it's right now trading above its 50-day moving average line. So this is a real proper breakout in a half. And if it lasts, then I think this could be a bit of a turnaround story for Celsius here. We'll see. I love the work Winston has done with Trade Vision. Yeah, he's done a very good job. He's been dribbling and drooling all over it. Arjun, you're a software engineer. Fox, you're drinking Celsius. Really? Is that stuff not incredibly unhealthy? Johnny, time frame on the smart money flows. Yeah, we want to make that smarter. That's definitely on the list. That's coming up. Slug, I would always diversify, my friend. If you put all your money in one thing, it doesn't work out. What happens? You're out of money. So how do you trade tomorrow? Can't, right? So you always want to diversify. So that says it has not been a breakout. What's has? Hasbro. Why was this not a breakout? I think it's arguably a breakout. I think it might have had something to do with the resistance here, where we said there's quite a lot of overhead resistance, like just $4 above, which doesn't make it the greatest breakout in the world. I think that's probably what we factored in there. You have to refresh to see volume. Oh yeah, me too. Me too. My volume's disappeared. Interesting. Okay, I'll tell the guys. Volume disappears. They're tweaking, as you can see. I'm sure we'll get that fixed. APLD, NVIDIA bought stocks in it, you say? APLD, Applied Digital. We'll look at the news on that. Quite skyrocketing today. Okay, stop behind a paintwall. NVIDIA maintains its position. Oh no, it's just maintained. It wasn't really, it doesn't buy it. It just kept owning it. So that's, Luke Ball, appreciate you, my friend, and I appreciate you for tuning in for a long time. I keep seeing your name here. Thank you very much. Andrew says volume's often gone on Trade Vision. Please fix it. Cool, my friend. I'll take a screenshot of that and pass it on. And you can always feel free to let the guys know via there's a button. See that button here in the bottom right? That one there. If you click on that, you can send us a message, or you could also do it via the feedback thing, and we will definitely take care of it that way. Grabs holding. That's good to see. Friend. Christopher, do you think Europe, Asia, Latin America will outperform the US? I think there's a chance. There's always a chance. I wouldn't put my money on it. That's all I'm saying. It could. I'm very, very happy in US equities and US stocks. And the simple reason is it's the biggest stock market in the world, the biggest pension funds, the big investments, the biggest hedge funds are there. All big foreign international funds who want to invest go to the US and invest there. So it's just where most of the money flows to. For me, it's just like the obvious place. So I tend not to bother very much with regional stocks. By regional, I mean non-American. There are a few exceptions if you find something really extraordinary, but pretty rare. So I think if you want to make your life simple, stick to US stocks. That would be mine. Is your team test in a pre-release environment, Tucker? Yes. We have a staging environment. Test everything. But we also have a philosophy of pushing features out as quickly as humanly possible. And that inevitably means that we do push stuff out. Sometimes that breaks. And that's kind of, I think you just, if you aim for perfection, you put out stuff really slowly. And really, by us just pushing stuff out, we get immediate feedback from you. This is why this is so amazing. I mean, here in the live stream, but also like in all the comments and feedback chats that we have with you all day long, we get all that feedback, and it means we can make the features better rather than just making it what we thought it should be. So it's really, really, really helpful to have your feedback. So we will continue to basically throw features out of the door as quickly as possible, and then we'll improve them. I think it's been a good way of doing it. And yeah, sometimes we have to roll stuff back if it happens. But it's I think much better to have the engagement with you guys. So we're building something for you rather than something hooked up in the dark rooms. Bugs happen. Yeah, they do. And sometimes it's just, weird things happen. Like you do one little thing and figure something else. And the thing with running an options platform, which is what we have behind it, is that you think any old stock, and like a Palantir or something, it's not just the stock price. Like the stock price changes every second, right? But what also changes is that for every single options expiry into the future, and there are probably 20 or 30, and then there are potentially hundreds of strike prices for that. And every one of those has got a bunch of data points behind it, like all of these, they'll also change it. So it raises the complexity to like a whole freaking other level. And then, you know, we obviously need to make sure all that works. So the quantity of data behind something like this is extraordinarily complex. It really is. Jennifer, HIMS, okay, a few of you guys are putting that out there, HIMS. It's been an interesting one to see whether HIMS gets hit by the whole RFK thing, right? At the moment, it's definitely getting hit pretty hard here. Is there a news item? They've acquired a US peptide facility. Okay, I like that. I actually have some peptides on the table over there, which I'm actually giving to my cat. Interesting. I get them from the UK. Yeah, cool. I actually quite like that. So I don't know why it's down so much. Oh, Bank of America gave some mixed, okay, an analyst. I mean, like they know anything about anything. So, okay, bad analyst rating, basically. Why are they worried? Oh, yeah. Basically, not this true. I read this. So Novo Nordisk, you know, the guys who make Ozempic, they can't produce enough of it, right? And that's one of the reasons that Hims and Hers are permitted to basically manufacture it themselves. And Novo Nordisk is trying to convince the FDA that they have ample supply now, and then they're trying to shut down companies like Hims and Hers from producing it, which would be definitely a big fat hit to Hims and Hers. I would just generally be more worried about the whole RFK thing and what he's going to do, because he is not a lover of pharma companies. So I think a lot is going to change. Peptide cake with mint frosting. No mint frosting, but yeah, I think peptides can be very, very cool. I literally, I have a cat. Where is she? She's somewhere around here. Beautiful creature. And yeah, this massive like cut in her face. The whole thing, you could see the bones. It's horrible, right? And I took her to the vet, and the vet said we have to do surgery, and it'll take 3 to 4 months to recover. And I didn't want to do the surgery because she's not that young. So I took her home, and we just cleaned the wound. 5 days later, it was closed, and 10 days later, it was like completely healed, including, you know, all the sort of scratchy bits. Literally 10 days, the whole thing is gone. And I was giving her peptides. So I don't know whether it's the cause, right? There's no scientific direct link there, but I think it might have had something to do with it. So I think it really does work, this stuff. Okay, so no support resistance line for him. So no, there is, you can toggle it on. We're below it. If that makes you feel any better. Let's have a look at the live market sort of heat map here to get a little bit of a feel. Still a bit mixed, isn't it? Tesla's down a bit more. Fat trucks are coming up a little bit on the hope that they'll, you know, be able to fight the Hims of this world. Palantir is green, Nvidia, Meta are green. The rest is not looking brilliant, which is all right. Yeah, PPC 157. That's actually the one. That's the one I was giving her. And this is obviously not medical advice, my friends, but I get my advice from Grok, quite literally. Grok explains it to me. I order it. DOMH. Oh, is that still around? I haven't looked at that in a little while. That had a lovely little rally. Then became a meme stock, right? $10. Okay, wow, that's not bad actually. That's pretty decent. Volume is gone, right? See if I can get my volume back. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, volume is fizzling out. So yeah, a little bit, nah. Getting a little dodgier by the day, I would say. I think there is no fundamental reason this stock is worth $10 at this point. They're in a teeny tiny percentage of the Android thing. Archer here is yeah, it's consolidating. It's not particularly exciting. It's also not a bad thing. That's a pretty good candle there. That's sort of a good bearish candle. It looks like a hammer, right? And those are quite good ones. Up a little today, 3%. So we're quite happy about that. So yeah, just continue to consolidate. Let's wait for the orders to roll in, and hopefully we'll have some good earnings. EV lost the ability to show multiple tickers at the same time in different windows. Shouldn't have. I quite like having lots of windows open. No, look, Palantir, ACHR, you can open as many windows as you like, I believe. I think there should be a limit on it. Why Celsius halted? Monica Botero, not related to the Botero artist, are you? Well, they announced that merger. I don't know if that's what did it. Spikes on earnings and acquisition. I haven't seen the halt. Bloomberg got it. CLH, trading halt. Can see it. You sure it's halted? Look at a minute chart here. It's kidding me. It seems to be trading. Looks to me like it's trading. I don't think it's. Doesn't look halted to me. Maybe it is, but it doesn't look like it to me. So that's okay. Appreciate you reporting stuff. That's how we make it better. That's always very, very useful. It's halted and now it's open again. Okay. But it might have been the merger and the very, very large move of a stock. Stock exchange doesn't really like very, very large moves. Let's have a look at what Doomberg's got in store this morning. Very glum-looking Zelensky. It's all about Trump. United Health thoughts after US opens probe of Medicare billing. Yeah, I mean, there's also like scandals out there where apparently Medicare pays like 10 times what the drugs actually cost if you were to buy them in an independent pharmacy. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff. I think it's going to be a lot of stuff happening there because obviously people are making a lot of money out of that. So I would be very careful of the whole pharma sector right now. What else have we got? CrowdStrike deal with Karasoft is being investigated. It's not that big a deal. I don't think it matters that much. And we can't fight disinformation anymore. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Fighting disinformation is basically censorship. Right? So I'm quite happy with disinformation because that way we can actually. It's a weird period, the whole COVID thing. If I ever mentioned something on YouTube about COVID, you get a little warning under there, basically saying you're potentially misinformation. If you do it again, you get censored. Very, very peculiar time that we lived through. All SMCI, I think there's a risk. I mean, they probably file. I just don't like companies that don't file on time. It's sort of you're a stock. You're on the stock exchange. It's a privilege, and therefore you have an obligation to file on time. And if you don't, then you're a nitwit, and I don't want to own your shares. It's very, very simple. Like if your CFO is so incapable that he or she can't file audits on time, you're a publicly listed company on the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, then I'm sorry, you fail the basic test of being a public listed company. Like, I don't want to own this stuff. Absolutely no interest whatsoever. Palantir, this is a minute chart here. This is quite an exciting morning, isn't it? It dropped down to 105, now back up to 106. Let's zoom out a little bit onto a day chart. We're up ever so slightly, just under 1% here this morning. Can you legally stream Bloomberg? No, you can't. I know a lot of YouTubers do. Clips, yes, sort of commentary. You can't just live stream the whole thing endlessly. No, of course not. It's copyrighted. ACHR holdings this $2. Congratulations. Daily dose. Your cat's having a seizure. I had a cat who had seizures. and she continued to live with us very happily and healthily for another 10 years. We didn't give her the seizure medication, gave her, what do you call it? Cannabis stuff. What is it? What do you call it? My mind this morning. You know what I mean, right? Sort of cannabis liquid stuff without the addictive stuff in it. And that completely took care of the whole thing. And the second thing we did, this might sound a little goofy, we took her to first an acupuncturist, which worked very well. She really liked it, but that she's a Cantonese cat. And then secondly, we took her to Reiki. She also absolutely loved that. And it made her feel fantastic. And it also massage her head and her neck, because that's where the tension will be. She'll have a headache. So CBD, that's the one. Yeah, CBD, very much. CBD is like for seizures, it's just magic. Because if you take the stuff the vet gives you, that anti-seizure medication, it'll destroy her kidneys and her liver. It's a horrible stuff to give. So my heart is with you, because it's horrible to see having seizures. But I'm going to tell you, like, she had at the beginning a lot of seizures very regularly, and then we got into this rhythm, and I literally gave her just 1 drop of CBD every day, and then found some animal flavored, sort of salmon flavored stuff. And she passed away 4 months ago at the age of 18, non-seizure related. So yeah, they can have a very happy life with it. Just take that. Yeah, I think you can skip the cocaine, my friend. Just deworm your cat 2 times a year. Yes, but I'm not a fan of the deworming medicines, to be honest with you. There is natural stuff that you can also use. But the seizures will typically, seizures in cats, in my humble opinion, are some sort of toxin Could be the cat, the collars, the flea collars, that incredibly poisonous. Have them for your cats or dogs. Could be bug spray. It could be all sorts of things. Try to be like really clean, no chemicals around her, and try the CBD. Works out, my friend. All right, my friends. As an 18-year-old rat terrier. Oh, that's amazing. So yes, on the note on the kitties, let's wrap it up here, and make sure, if you want to do something for yourself, literally right now, right? I kept talking, you'd probably still watch me for a little while. But if instead you were to go to felixprehn.org/get-free and actually spend 15 minutes learning the very skills that I learned, the very rules that I learned, the very rules that I apply all the time, then you do yourself a tremendous service. Head over there, felixprehn.org/get-free, and I love you for watching and tuning in. And